wherever you're viewing from. I'm Laura Thompson with TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach. And you're tuned into the coffee break. And I was just sitting here kind of minding my own business, and up walks, he did run a little bit. Up walks a phenomenal young man, Mr. Rudy Garza. He is the president and CEO of CPS Energy. So how you doing?
I'm doing great, Laura. Thank you for the invitation to come over here. It's always good to talk about the great things that CPS Energy and our employees are doing. So I'm glad to be here.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you. So I heard something about a new generation plan.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, but before we get into that discussion, could you give us a little background information on who you are, what you do, why you do it, where you're from, all of those good things?
That's great. So, again, I'm Rudy Garza. I'm president and CEO of CPS Energy. I've been with the company now for 14 years, but I've been in the utility business for 30 years.
Wow.
So, I'm not as young as I used to be, but I still feel pretty young at heart. Originally from Corpus Christi, Texas. So I always joke I'm from far south San Antonio, down along the coast. But if you're from Corpus, you always have family in San Antonio, and you're from San Antonio, everybody's got family down in Corpus. So we're communities that are very, very similar in nature. But, I got most of my family still down in Corpus. My wife and I and my two boys have been up here now for about 14 years. And we love this community, and being a part of CPS Energy is I think, indicative of the success of San Antonio. I think I always say how CPS Energy goes, so goes the city, because of how important we are to everything that happens. So nothing happens in San Antonio without CPS Energy being successful.
That's absolutely correct, and you are a very successful company.
Thank you.
So we're going to be talking about the new generation plan.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us what that is. It sounds like some type of long-term plan.
Well, it is. I've been CEO now. I'm going on 4.5 years. I'm in my 5th year.
Okay.
Leading this company, and it's been an absolute honor of my career being in this position. I grew up. Nobody looked like me was leading utility companies,
absolutely right.
And so I didn't have that dream until a mentor of mine kind of put it in my head. That I could do it, and now that I'm doing it, one of the things that's been fundamental about our success over the last 5 years has been we've had a plan, and what that plan does is allows us to create priorities for how we spend our community's money, and so one element of that what we called our Vision 2027 strategy has been having a sound generation plan, and what that means is, we're the 4th largest generator in the state of Texas, meaning the power plants that generate power to run our grid, and some of our plants are getting old. We got to prepare for those to be retired and go out and start either buying or building new plants. And over the last 3 years, we've been real aggressive in looking for plants that are available in the market. And we bought plants down in Corpus Christi. We bought plants in Laredo. We bought plants recently in Houston.
Wow.
And we've been able to save our community $2 billion in doing that. So we've made a lot of progress in the plan that we came up with a few years ago. But now we've got a couple new faces. We got a new mayor that has thoughts on our generation plan. We've got a new trustee, my bosses that give me direction and give me feedback, in Dr. Erica Gonzalez, who's been great so far. And so now's a good time to kind of take a look at where we are, what we've been able to accomplish, and then reset for the next 5 years. I'm a big believer that it's always good to have a fresh 5-year strategy, that's really leading how we set priorities at CPS Energy. And so this year we're doing that. We're going to just kind of take a pause, get some feedback from our community, get some feedback from our board, and then we'll be ready to move ahead.
Wow. So that's a kind of a short-term plan. When I was thinking of generation, I'm thinking like a 100-year plan or a 25-year plan.
Well, we got one of those too. If you go out to our website, cpsenergy.com, and you search Horizon 2050, we've done a 25-year look ahead. Because I get the question from the business community a lot, Rudy, do we have enough resources for the next 25 years? The answer, quite frankly, has been no. But because we have a short-term strategy, that leads to, because when we go out and buy a power plant, that's a 30, 40-year decision.
Wow.
So even though our strategy is short-term, the implications that has on our business are very long-term. And so, what we think about the future, you can find in the Horizon 2050 plan.
Wow. Well, you talked about power plants in of course in San Antonio, but in Corpus and in Houston.
Yes, ma'am.
How do those plants support what we do here in San Antonio?
Well, we're growing. We're still one of the fastest growing communities in the country, and we have been for about a decade now. Just drive around town, there's construction going on in every direction. Houses, businesses, big, industrial facilities. We've got it all coming to San Antonio right now. So, for us, we have to, the way generation works, the electric grid in Texas is all interconnected. About 85% of the state of Texas is under the same, power grid. And so you can really have generation anywhere in the state. Okay. You get credit for the amount of generation you have. You cover what you need for your community. We cover what we need for our customers, and then we sell the rest back onto the market.
Wow.
And that revenue offsets what we need to ask our customers for. So, it's a strategy that has worked real well for us. It helps us maintain some of the lowest rates in the state of Texas from an electric and gas utility perspective. But having more generation than we need to serve our customers really creates an opportunity to diversify our revenue, so our ratepayers aren't having to pay the whole, for everything.
Wow. And I'm glad you clarified generation, because I was thinking like people generation or life generation. That's why I asked you about
power generation. Yeah,
wow.
It's electricity.
Wow. So so this is a great conversation and great information, for our viewers.
Yes, ma'am.
To learn more about what you do now. You talked about construction, and you talked about technology plants
yes, ma'am.
that are being built here in San Antonio in different parts of the city. So how does that affect the distribution of power through to residents and to businesses?
Well, the good thing is when a new customer comes to town, they have to pay what it costs to connect them to the grid. So that you and I, as ratepayers, the customers that are already here, shouldn't be picking up the cost for a new customer coming to town. But when you think about the big power lines you have to build, the transmission lines you have to build, when you think about the miles of the poles and wires that connect houses and connect businesses, we plan for that 10, 15 years ahead of time.
Wow.
So it takes a constant balance to make sure that we're paying attention to where the growth is happening in the community and getting out ahead of that just enough to be able to plan appropriately, but not overburden our customers with that cost. Right. So it's kind of a very fine line between building ahead of where the growth is going to be 5, 10 years ahead, but not overbuilding to the point where your existing customers are having to pick up that cost. So I think we do a really good job of it. If right now there's a conversation about Toyota doubling the size of their plant and bringing another couple thousand jobs to the community. It's great. We've been planning for that for 10 years now.
Wow.
And so now that they're here, we've got capacity. We'll have to build a little bit of infrastructure to get their new facility connected, but we're ready for that because we've planned properly. So so it all kind of has to work together. Probably the transmission, the big power lines we have to build, and the generation are kind of the two longest, that you gotta plan for those a little longer term. And so we're constantly looking at where do we need to bring in new transmission lines? How do we need to interconnect our system differently to open up parts of town to be able to develop? And that's why, I say nothing happens in this city without CPS Energy being successful, because if we don't do that planning work properly, guess what? All of a sudden now you got a property there that is unprepared for whatever, great job, producing company might come along. And so so we always have to pay attention to that.
Wow. So as far as like community input or what customers
yes, ma'am.
Tell you or tell your community engagement people that what their needs are, what are some of the things that customers are saying?
Well, it's really consistent. We probably spend more time as a utility asking our customers what they think of the job that we're doing than most other utilities in the country. We are we're generally 10 places a day, 6 days a week. through, all year long. So we probably attend 3,000 events a year.
Wow.
Where we're engaging with our customers directly, and they tell us a few things. Number one, the ticket into the door is we got to be reliable. So they got to know that the power and the gas is going to be there when we need it. Number one. So reliability is fundamentally what our customers expect, and we're one of the most reliable utilities in the country. Very good reliability in San Antonio, which is why businesses are coming here. The second aspect of it is they want us to be affordable. So, so we don't just think about it for those who can afford to pay their bill. We look at it from, the energy burden. Look at those customers that are having the most trouble paying their bill, and how do we make sure that we have programs, for them. And we have more programs for our customers who need the help than any other utility in the country.
Wow.
If you're disabled, disabled veteran, we have a program for you. If you're a senior, we have a program for you. If you're, limited income and you need a discount on your bill, we have discounts to apply to you. So, we've got a lot of programs that help keep our rates affordable. And just fundamentally, we've got one of the lowest rates in the state of Texas.
Wow.
Because we spend so much time thinking about affordability. The last aspect of it is they want us to be innovative. They want us, to come up with cleaner ways to generate power. So we're number 2 in wind energy in the state of Texas. We're number 1 in solar. We just announced last week a big battery storage project. Next to one of our power plants, that also is a cleaner way to create resources. So we're trying to do it in a way that really takes into account all 3 of those expectations.
Wow. So you're tuned into the Coffee Break on TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach, and we're going to continue to speak with the CEO and president of CPS Energy, Rudy Garza, about the great things that they're doing at CPS Energy to better serve us.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I want to go back to those plants that you have in Corpus and Houston, or in other areas. How does does some of that energy generate, or is it distributed back to San Antonio?
So we do have some lines that come directly to San Antonio. I'll tell you, all of the wind along the coast, all the wind blades that you see when you go down to the beach, all of that power is San Antonio power. That's coming to San Antonio. We own a nuclear power plant south of Houston, and we got a direct transmission line that comes from that plant into San Antonio to deliver the energy that we own from that. But really, electrons go where they go. Once they put them on the grid, they go where, because you're generating power simultaneously to when the power is being used, which it's a real technical, balance that we have to, achieve on a daily basis to keep the system reliable. So wherever you produce the electrons, they're going to go, right? So, most of those electrons produced down in Corpus Christi, they're going to serve that South Texas market. The way the energy system works in Texas, it's like a bank, right? The generation is the money you put into your savings account. And then what you take out of it, to pay your bills is what we need for San Antonio. So we always want to have more in the bank account than what we're pulling out to serve our customers. Is that a good analogy?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we get credit for what we're putting in, even though we're only taking out a portion of it. And because of that, when there's opportunities to sell that power into the market, that bank account has some money in it.
Wow.
Right. So that's how we kind of achieve balance between the revenue we bring in from what we call the wholesale market, where we buy and sell power, and the revenue we're asking our customers that you pay on your bill every month.
Wow. So I had another question. So there's you talked about a lot of construction going on.
Yes, ma'am.
Around San Antonio. How do y'all keep up with all that?
It's not easy. It's not easy. The project managers that manage new construction for us, they're busy. Some of them have 100 projects that they're working on any given time. And so, I think we do a pretty good job. I was meeting with some business folks this morning. I think there are ways that we can get more efficient and be better. But I think overall we do a really good job of making sure that we're paying attention. Number one, getting ahead of it, knowing where the growth is coming, being prepared when somebody shows up at your doorstep with some plans saying, hey, we need power at this location, and then getting that through our process. I mean, it's never as efficient as we want it to be, but I think we do it as efficiently as anybody in the country does it, because again, we're a community-owned utility. Our customers own us. So and our employees, all 3,700 of them, they take that responsibility really seriously. So when you show up to CPS Energy, they're going to care about your project.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So this has been a really great, informative interview, and it's given our viewers a lot of great information and knowledge that we wouldn't normally get. So I still want to know about the customers, the residential customers,
Yes, ma'am.
and how, when you have these big commercial projects, how do y'all kind of manage that?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would say is I want our residential customers to know that they're not picking up the tab, when a big company comes to town. Our process is such that, when they ask for infrastructure, we want to make sure they're paying their fair share. So it's important our rates are structured in a way that reflect that. Just to break it down for you, 90% of our customers, just by the number, we have 1.4 million customers that we serve.
Wow.
90% of those are residential customers.
Wow.
10% of those are commercial customers. Of the commercial customers, 90% of those commercial customers are small businesses. So the small businesses actually look more like the residential customers than they do the Toyotas and the HEBs of the world that we know and we love. So it's really important that the few really big customers that are in town, that our rates are structured in a way that allows them to pay their fair share. But those customers offset, the what we're asking from everybody else. So like I said, 90% residential, 10% commercial, where those commercial customers pick up 45% of the cost to provide service in San Antonio. Residential picks up 55%.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you look at our rates, they're pretty balanced.
Okay.
And that's how we protect residential customers from picking up costs that they shouldn't be paying.
Right. Well, what I really like about CPS Energy is that you take a holistic approach, and
Yes,
you make sure that everybody has service. So you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
a lot of different programs to help with individuals that have special needs. I'll put it like
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Like they might need utility assistance,
Yes,
or
ma'am.
you have different programs, and so because everybody needs lights.
Yes, ma'am. That's
And
a
so-
quality of life issue.
Yeah, and
Yep.
so I think you all have mastered, the community aspect and the community feel for CPS Energy.
Yeah. I'll put in a plug for any customer that needs help. Like, we don't ever want our customers sitting at home in the dark because they didn't have the money to pay their bill and didn't know where to get the help. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call us, 353-210-353-2222. There's a friendly energy advisor that can speak both English and Spanish on the other end of that phone, who can find out if you're eligible for programs that we have. And they'll apply the help right then and there. And even if you don't have the money to pay your bill, guess what? We'll put you on a payment plan that works for you. And if you need to reestablish the payment plan because circumstances has changed, we're really, helpful in trying to figure out how to get you to pay what you can, so that you don't have to worry about sitting at home in the dark.
Wow.
And so I would just encourage any customer, we're here to help. And not only can we connect you with utility assistance for our service, we can connect you to rental assistance and medical assistance and
Wow.
food assistance. We're connected to all the other agencies in town that are helping people on a daily basis, live day to day. Which there's a lot of people in our community that do. And so we care, but it starts with just picking up the phone, being proactive, and making a phone call.
And I from personal experience, you all have great customer service.
Thank you.
And they do, while they have you on the phone, they do research and look for different types of programs or whatever type help you need.
Yes, ma'am.
They take the time to look for that and to help.
Thank you.
And
We
so-
try really hard.
And so that's a very important message for people to know, and
Yes,
to know that you have a company that really, they serve the community, not just because they have to, but they take great pride
Yes, ma'am, we do.
in doing the best for the CPS Energy customers.
Thank you.
So this has been a great conversation. I've been hanging out with Rudy Garza. He's the CEO and president of CPS Energy. He's given us some great information, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Laura. Appreciate you having me today.
All righty.